take away. And that's what happened again today.
And all season long, yesterday, the Vikings' dismal season ended the way it started by giving up a game-winning touchdown in the fourth quarter. A strong defensive effort went for naught when Steve Young connected with wide receiver John Taylor with 29 seconds left to play. And that completed a dubious reversal from division champs to cellar dwellers.
I guess it summarizes our season as far as it being a letdown for us, having a lead and blowing the lead again.
The other teams have been able to come up with the plays to win the game, and we haven't been able to. And so we're just one play away.
Former Redskins and Rams coach George Allen passed away at his home this morning. The 72-year-old Allen returned to coaching this season to turn around the Long Beach State program, and he did, leading that team to an impressive 6-5 record. Allen never had a losing season in 14 years of pro coaching. Well, not in Pasadena and not in the Rose Bowl, but the Big Ten beat the Pac-10 in El Paso, Texas. John Hancock's Sun Bowl today. Dan Enos, the quarterback for the Spartans, hits his star wide receiver Courtney Hawkins for a touchdown in the third quarter, and Michigan State had a 14-10 lead over USC. Now the Spartans added one field goal. The Trojans got two, and they came up a point short. Final 17-16. Michigan State gets the win. The Big Ten now 1-2 in bowl games. And now I'll look back at 1990, a year that started the same way it ended, with the Vikings losing to the San Francisco 49ers. In between, all the local pro teams had losing records, while all the major Gopher teams were winners. And here it is, a video yearbook, courtesy of editor Bill.
One or two things happen to football teams. You get better or you get worse. And they got better and we got worse. We have a family at University of Minnesota. We have more than basketball players. We want this family. We cry together, we laugh together, we win together, and we lose together. And I think that's been very important to our success.
Let's go, Roy. You got to play some damn defense.
But I don't care if it does.
I think it's going to be hard to get a season ticket, and that is going to make me very happy, and that's going to be a lot of fun. Oh, look at this. Going to be two in a game. Yes! Another triple play. Diana has it go right between his legs.
If they see the inconsistency over a given period of time, and I believe that things go south for you.
Left field. Hit well. Gladden. Gonna watch it.
As a defensive coordinator, but they only know me as a head coach, and I think what they needed to see is to know that I know exactly what they've been trained to do, what we're trying to get them to do, and to let them know that I'm on top of that situation, and maybe it'll give them some confidence.
I want this to be a smooth transition, and I will do it and work and try to get that done as quickly as possible. Run the ball. I want to be able to do the things that, I was brought up to you.
Up the middle, the caught by John Taylor. He'll get in. Touchdown, Niners.
That's why they got to keep that gun at the end. It's about the most private thing I saw.
It's an exhausting year. I'm worn out. Yeah. Kind of tiring. Hopefully better for the pro teams next year. And I can tell you tonight, the Saints hope to end 1990 on a winning note and make the playoffs. They'll do it if they beat the Rams.
Well,
was good piece. Thank you. We'll be right back after this.
Have you driven a Ford Probe lately? Probe has a stylish, sleek, aerodynamic design. Under the hood is a powerful, fuel-efficient 12-valve, 2.2-liter engine. Inside is one of the roomiest interiors in its class. Plus, AM/FM
Winning season at 6-5. Allen never had a losing season in 14 NFL years with the Redskins and the Rams. And Allen's old team, the Rams in New Orleans tonight, trying to spoil the Saints' New Year's Eve and playoff hopes. Jim Everett to Willie Anderson helped the Rams come back to tie the game at 17. However, Steve Walsh drove the Saints into field goal range, and Morton Anderson came through with 2 seconds to play. So the party is on in New Orleans, which will make its second playoff appearance in its history, playing at Chicago on Sunday. Well, 1990 ended the same way the previous 2 years had ended for the Vikings, with a loss to San Francisco. These two teams are steady in contrast, the Vikings dropping from champions to cellar dwellers, and the Niners possibly on their way to a third straight Super Bowl. Why such a difference?
When I was with Philadelphia, we went to Super Bowl. We were down a lot of times. We weren't worried whether we were going to win the game or just how we were going to win the game. And maybe the 49ers do have that type of feeling. I think that this team has went through so much. They know what it's like to win. So regardless of what the circumstances are, they feel like there's a chance. And I think that is the major difference, is that the Vikings have never developed that winning tradition and attitude.
I don't know. They know how to win, and this team doesn't know how to win.
Jerry Burns pulling no punches there. The Big Ten finally found out how to win in a bowl game, Michigan State winning it by USC over 1.17 to 16 in the John Hancock Bowl. Happy New Year. Yeah, see you next year. Okay. You as well. Good night and Happy New Year. Alleged NCAA rules violation. Now, the university challenges 3 of those accusations. As athletic director Rick Bay put it, being guilty of 18 would be better than 21. The university believes it can prove former administrator Luther Darville acted alone when he gave out cash to student-athletes. And the university will plead for leniency based on its new and tougher internal controls.
Everybody knows that every institution does that. I mean, they all say, because these cases are not heard very immediately, everybody always says that they have good institutional control, that people that were responsible for the current problems have left. So that's not a unique defense, but I think it's an important thing.
And the university hopes an effective one. The university has already spent $460,000 investigating and defending itself, and that bill will get much bigger by the time the NCAA determines what, if any, penalties to hand down, which could happen around the beginning of March, Mark.
Well, Scott, that's the beginning of March, and the penalties could be handed down. What happens before then?
There is a hearing by the Infractions Committee of the NCAA in San Diego, February 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. Clem Haskins will even fly out there for that. Lou Holtz is expected to be there, along with Rick Bay and the university's attorney, among many others, to talk in person about this 300-page report.
Scott, very quickly, how severe a penalty could the university be facing?
Well, if the NCAA continues to call it a major case, which it did several weeks ago, Mark, the minimum is 2 years probation for any athletic program involved. And, of course, we're talking about football, possibly basketball, and maybe some other peripheral programs at the university.
All right, Scott, thanks much. To a more positive outlook for the university, Walter Bond is getting ready to play some ball this Saturday on November 25th.
Kenny calls the volunteer services here at Armstrong because his house is just a half mile from this school. But he couldn't be sure that a successful high school coach would be comfortable with a former NBA player walking into his gym and giving instructions. In fact, McKinney almost decided against calling the Falcons coach.
Coach seemed a little shocked, and I said, boy, I wondered, did he not want me around?
The first thought that went through my mind was Billy McKinney of the Timberwolves, and I said, nah, it can't be. So I asked him a little bit about his experience in that, and then it started to make some sense that maybe it is this Billy McKinney.
Yes, the real Billy McKinney. Coach William felt honored and says ever since McKinney started showing up at practices last week, the kids have worked much harder and admittedly taken on an E.F. Hutton attitude.
I mean, he talks people with, and, when the coach talks, sometimes people are kind of doing it, and he talks. They listen to him.
You want to sit down like this and take your time.
And McKinney shares a lot of the techniques he learned in college and in the NBA. And he's still young enough to show the kids what will happen if they don't do it the right way. 14-year-old Bridget Ryan of Duluth spends weekdays in the Twin Cities training and going to school. But she always goes back to family on weekends.
If I skate 7 days a week and get too caught up in skating, then I myself get down on myself in skating, and I don't have any fun doing it. And for me to skate well, I have to have fun.
But for these skaters, the most fun of all would be winning here and qualifying for the World Championships in March. With that broken leg, Jeff Hostetler sat on the bench in the Giants' last Super Bowl and watched Phil Simms, who can't play this time because of a banged-up foot. With two great defenses, Hostetler will have to avoid injury and mistakes for the Giants to win. But you only have to ask the 49ers to find out if he's capable of that. Jan Stenerud, the ageless kicker that ended his career with the Vikings, was elected into the Hall of Fame today. Carl Eller did not make it. Stenerud ended his career at the age of 42 in 1985 with the Vikings. One of the few positive contributions Les Steckel made as head coach was bringing in Stenerud, who made a name with Kansas City and also kicked for Green Bay. Four others elected: Tex Schramm, Earl Campbell, John Hanna, and Stan Jones. Well, the Gophers should get their first road win in the Big Ten tonight. They play at Northwestern, and many predict the Wildcats won't win any conference games. We'll have that game for you tonight on Channel 4 coming up at 7 o'clock. Two teams battling Ohio State for the Big Ten title met at Bloomington. Super Frost Damon Bailey came off the bench to spark the Hoosiers in the first half. Michigan State could do nothing right. Mark Montgomery will end up working at Montgomery Ward's if he keeps dribbling like that. The Hoosiers capitalized with one of their many first-half fast breaks. Patrick Graham with a three-point play. Indiana's up by a dozen. Bailey ends up with 19 points and some awesome assists. A laser-guided pass hits Patrick Graham perfectly. The Hoosiers spanked the spunkless Spartans 97-63. Well, David Wheaton teamed up with Patrick McEnroe to make a bid at the doubles title at the Australian Open. But their bid fell short today in the title match, losing to the third-seeded combination of Davis and Tate 6-7, 7-6, 6-3, 7-5. Yvonne Lendl meeting Boris Becker tonight in the singles final. It was a year ago, Chris Wanke and Tommy Nevers were worried about winning high school championships and preparing for college. But when Pro Baseball Scouts called, they ended up the bonus babies, signing for a collective $625,000 and foregoing college. And as Mike Max reports, with no regret.
What a year for Chris Wanke, the most coveted quarterback in the country. He signed with Florida State, then left college for a big-time offer from the Toronto Blue Jays.
After I made that decision, I was real happy with it. And then, obviously, the Blue Jays came up with what I wanted. And then now I'm in a situation where I love it, and I don't look back at all, and I'm having a lot of fun with it.
Nevers in! Scores! Tommy Nevers was set to play hockey and baseball at the University of Minnesota until the Houston Astros drafted him in the first round. They are the bonus babies, encompassing ability, determination, and now money.
The first time I really knew that I did sign for some money was when I bought a car, but it was the first day I got my paycheck. It was like, what am I supposed to do? Give this to a coach.
Their off-season coach is Steve Sagadol. He's trying to speed up the minor league process.
It's been neat to work with them, and it's pretty much they're getting the same sort of thing that the younger kids are getting. I mean, from the beginners, the 7-year-olds on up, that's pretty much the same sort of thing that we do with them out here. Spend time to develop their skills and give them an opportunity to practice.
It's repetition and fun.
I think it's probably like stealing money. I think I'm doing something I love to do, and I'm getting paid for it, so I'm real happy with it.
While their careers have paralleled, their friendship has grown.
We got to know each other in the festival, and it's good ever since then, and hopefully maybe one day we'll end up in the same squad. You never know.
Mike Max, WCCO Television Sports, reporting.
Who will make the majors first? They'll both be at Class A this season. Baseball, can't wait, man.
Thank you, Scott. We'll be right back. What was that?
What was what?
I heard a noise.
Oh.
The Gophers, Scott, huh? Yeah, you're playing Northwestern, though. They didn't dwell on the court as they did in the classroom. They'd be top 10. You can call it a learning experience, the maturation process. Often you call it painful if you're a Gopher fan. Watching a freshman learn the ropes in the Big Ten, but tonight it all came together for Gopher freshman Randy Carter. He still takes some ill-advised shots, but he will chase this one down against Northwestern. The Wildcats couldn't find anyone quick enough to stay with Carter. Freshman Ariel McDonald made it easy on this one for Carter. Gophers led 23-19. Carter had 19 at the half. He controlled the paint, and the Gophers led by 5 at intermission. And more of the same in the second half. Carter following his shot again, finishing with 29 and 14 rebounds. Later, Kevin Lynch stole the ball, and he will go the distance. The Gophers win their first Big Ten road game of the season, improving to 3-4 in the conference, beating the Wildcats to 85-68 in Evanston. Can you believe Michigan State was ranked number 2 at the beginning of the season? Indiana can't. 97-63, Hoosiers win. Illinois wins at Michigan.